Hi guys, how are you? Thanks for watching the video. As we talk about clinical orientation, it always kind of gets a little tricky when we start off our clinical days before we have actual class. So I do appreciate you taking the time to watch this, and please do, if I don't mention it again, reach out if you have any questions so that we can clear up any gray spots before the clinicals get started. All right. Excuse me. So the one thing I am going to tell you about this clinical is it has a lot of moving parts. Okay. It takes a lot of coordination on your part and an extreme amount of coordination on my part, as well as the clinical instructors. So there are some pieces that you'll wonder why they're in place, but there is a definite reason for it. So when you will not have one assigned clinical instructor in this course, okay? What happens is Hispanic Senior Center is one of my absolute favorite sites that we use for this rotation. But what's important to know about this one is they speak only Spanish, okay? I have one clinical instructor who speaks Spanish fluently, and that is Lady. So when you go to the Hispanic Senior Center, you need to have Lady there. So what we found actually is more beneficial for you all is to have clinical instructors who are very familiar with the sites that they're at. It doesn't work well if we try and move the instructors between the sites in order to keep them with you. So know that there is a lot of work that goes on in the background in terms of conversations among us, how everybody's doing, all of that sort of stuff. Okay, so I have here for you cell phone numbers. Okay, Lady Rivera is going to be your primary contact at the Hispanic Senior Center, and as well as one day at Head Start. Okay, she's fantastic. She's been teaching this course with me now for 4 or 5 years, maybe. She's about as awesome as they come in terms of clinical faculty for you guys. Just really knowledgeable, tremendous resource for you guys as you're in the clinical situation. Okay. So her name is Lady Rivera. She's shorter than I am, so about maybe 5 foot. She's got long brown hair. She's Puerto Rican. So when you guys look for her at the Hispanic Senior Center, you have somewhat of an idea of who to look for. Maybe I'll see if I can get some pictures of them for you guys. Chris Lester is fantastic. She has been an Ursuline instructor possibly longer than I have. She's fantastic. She's my primary person at Ahuja ER. She has been there for couple of years at least in terms of clinical assignment. By practice, she's an OB nurse, but she really thrives and loves the Ahuja ER and gets along very well with the staff there. She has a great working relationship with the people at Ahuja ER, and she will also have one day at Head Start with y'all. Okay, Mr. Waller, okay, is a by practice, he's a mental health nurse. He also is in the Army not Army, correction, Air Force. I've gotten corrected on that before. He's an Air Force nurse. So he comes with a tremendous amount of experience as well. He's going to be with you at Malachi House, and as well as one of the Head Start days. Okay. Great resource, very knowledgeable, immensely positive. He is like my little sunshine. So and that is my clinical faculty. You will also see that I put my phone number there for you. Okay. Please reach out if you guys have questions. Okay, so the phone numbers are there. I do have this picture here of all of the little cell phones because I really would like you to put our numbers into your cell phone. Please program them in. Okay, we're all very tech savvy and very good with texting, so please, just feel free to reach out to us via text. If you do, make sure you tell us who you are. Sometimes we get some random text and we're not really sure who it is. So if you text us, please make sure, you tell us at least your name and, why you're contacting them. Okay, so that is that. Okay. So when you get your cell phone, there are a couple of free apps that I recommend getting. Okay, one is MapQuest. Okay, I have found in the past that Google Maps tends to get people lost going to my clinicals. So MapQuest seems to do very well in terms of getting people there, as does Waze, W-A-Z-E. So either one of those is free, and I recommend them in terms of finding my clinical sites. The other one that I recommend is Epocrates. Okay, that is a free app. I'm gonna see if I can. No, I can't pull it up right now. Okay, but if you go into Epocrates, there's a whole bunch of information. Okay, when you go into your app store, don't get the $300 version. There is a free version of Epocrates. Okay, and what's in there is body mass index calculators, which you will be doing out in clinicals this round. You will also find some drug identification tools, so that if your patient brings in a pill box that has several different pills in it, you can identify the pills that are in that box. So I highly encourage you to put those on your phone. The other thing that I would like to ask is that you please make sure that your picture is updated in D2L. Let's see here. Let me log into D2L. I didn't think to do that. Sorry. Thank you for your patience. Maybe. There we go. All right. 435. All right. So if you go into, there's like these little, there's an area here. You can see I have my picture put in. But if you go under profile, oh, I think Ursuline's website is having issues this morning. All right, there we go. You can put your picture in here. Obviously, I need to change my picture. What I ask though is when you put your picture in, that you please put in a picture of what you look like on clinical day. Okay, don't put a picture in that makes you look like a model. Granted, we all look lovely when we go to weddings, and we all look absolutely put together. I realize that this is not always how we look when we go to clinicals. So if you're going to come to clinicals with a ponytail and no makeup on, please just make sure that your picture is ponytail, no makeup on. Okay. So if you would, please put that in there. This is really important for the instructors as we get together to put together your final evaluations and talk about your overall performance. It really helps for us to have those images there. So if you can please put those in prior to, let's see, today is Friday. So if you can do a week from today, that would be really helpful. I'll put a reminder out there. Okay. Excuse me. All right. Moving on. Okay, so our clinical instructors are not always connected to their email as closely as some of the full-time faculty are. So if you have some need of getting a hold of them less than 18 hours prior to clinical, please reach out via their cell phone, okay? For urgent issues, text or call if needed, anytime that you need to get a hold of them, okay? So absences or tardies, you have to talk with the instructor that you are to meet. In the case of a precepted site, you need to talk to me if you think for even a second you're going to be late. Okay. There's some safety features that go along with that rule, but if you are going to be 1 minute late, either the clinical instructor or myself needs to know where you are, why you're late. Okay, so please plan ahead and make sure that you're keeping in contact with us. We get very nervous if people aren't where they are or where they're supposed to be. Many of us are parents, and we like to make sure that everybody is safe. So please make sure that communication is there. All right, so your clinicals can be scheduled anytime between 7 a.m. and 3 p.m. on Wednesdays. Okay, the actual on-site time can vary, and you will notice when you look at the clinical schedule that every single clinical site has a different time frame. Okay, there is a reason for this. It's to make the most of the time that we have available to us, and it's also to make sure that you're not having a whole lot of downtime where you're not actively engaged. Okay. So let's look at the clinical schedule a minute here. Okay, this probably looks a little different than any other clinical schedule that you've had. Okay, how this works is you will find your name somewhere down here. Okay, and you will find a letter or numeric association with it. Okay, so Kelly Briggs happens to be B1, just for example. Okay, so when Kelly's looking for her schedule, she's going to look first, she's going to find the letter B, and on January 16th, she sees that she is at Ahuja ER. Okay, now because she's B1, she's going to look then on January 23rd, and she's going to see that she's at Matt Talbot. Okay, and then from there, she's going to move to Hispanic Senior Center, and then she'll go to Head Start, and then to Malachi, and then to Ahuja ER again. And the final day, we start on campus. We do a little potluck get together in the morning. And then from there, you will go to Gathering Place in the afternoon. Okay, so let's do another example. Let's do Ashley. Ashley, you are D3. You are going to first day be at Malachi House. Okay, and then on the 23rd, you're going to be at Ahuja. On the 30th, you're going to be at Head Start. The 6th, you're going to be at Hispanic Senior Center. Then you're going to be at Cleveland Clinic Brunswick ER. Then you're going to go to Malachi. Okay, and then you're going to do the last day clinicals. Okay, so if you guys have any questions in terms of where you are supposed to be when, please let me know. Please reach out. Okay, the colors that you see are the clinical instructors that you are expecting to meet with you that day. Okay. So Hispanic Senior Center, you have Lady. Ahuja, you have Chris. I'm going to change this because Mr. Waller likes to be called Mr. Waller. At Malachi House, you'll have Mr. Waller. And the precepted sites, you are going to reach out to me if you have any questions, okay? So in anything in gray, you're going to reach out to me. These will tell you who you need to reach out to. If there is any question, which I do my best, I really do, to make sure that there are no disconnects in terms of time frames at which that you are supposed to be at the sites, this is the go-to standard. So when you are figuring out which clinical site you need to be at and what time you need to be at, this is the gold standard. So this is what I want you to refer to. I have one other document. I'm still kind of on the fence of whether or not I'm going to post it for you guys. I've just found that, to make sure that everything is very clear, this is the schedule that you're going by. Okay, so please make sure you follow that. Let me know if you have any questions. Okay, your clinical evaluation tool, okay, is 33% of your final course grade. I will post that. You will have the opportunity to review it. You do not need to print it. On the first day of class, I will actually bring the first page for you to sign. So please take some time, be sure to read it, and know that it is a third of the grade in this class. Okay, so the instructors and I in this course really like to give 10s. We do not give 10s for you simply showing up and looking cute. I know that sounds awful, but you have to be able to earn the 10s. So we want to see that you are actively engaged. You're talking and smiling and conversant and really trying to make those connections, okay? So it's your job to make sure that you get those 10s, right? We really would like to give them to you, so just give us the ammunition we need to do it. Okay. Safe Medicate will be open on Sunday. It opens at 3 p.m. and has to be done by Monday at 3 p.m. I know I'm sorry to open it on the weekend for you guys. The issue becomes if I don't have you all signed off, then you don't get to go to clinicals on the first day. So I have to put it open so that we have the opportunity for retakes in case we need it. Okay. Attendance and punctuality is on your clinical or on your syllabus, and I opted to roll it into the main syllabus today, so I'm sorry about that. So attendance and punctuality is in your clinical, or is in the syllabus, okay? So If we have a few minutes, I will pull that up for you so that you can see it. Okay, so basically the bottom line is please do not be late. Please, please, please. It makes us very nervous. We get scared that you're not where you're supposed to be when you need to be there. So if for some reason you leave early, okay, and I'm really going to encourage you not to leave early, please try not to schedule flights out or anything like that at the time frame that the clinicals are running. Just make sure that you're there for the entire clinical period. Okay, so a lot of times, or when we talk about safety in the community, I am sending you to 6 or 7 different locations, okay? These are not typical locations where you are used to going, okay? So a couple things that we need to talk about in terms of safety. One, please make sure you gas up your car, okay, before you go out in the morning. It's preferably a good idea to do it the night before, okay? When you go out into the clinical setting, some of my sites do not have gas stations readily available. Some of them do not have what I would consider gas stations where I would want to stop and get gas. Okay, so just make sure that you gas up your car beforehand. Okay, always, always, always maintain eye contact. So I know we're really good in terms of, looking down at our phone and maybe not making direct eye contact with people. When you're out in the community setting, I'm really going to ask you to keep your head up, look around, see what's going on, take note of your surroundings. Some of the interesting things that you'll see in the community setting are things like buildings, the type of people that are walking around, all of that stuff. So please keep your eyes up, maintain eye contact, look around, be aware of what's going on in your surroundings. Okay. Oh, bags. Oh, okay, bags. Okay. I'm going to find my inner zen before I get on my bag thing. Okay. Absolutely, positively, no bags. No bags. I'm going to say this one more time. No bags are to go with you in any sort of clinical setting. Okay. If it does not fit in your pocket, it does not go. Okay. There are several reasons for this. One is storage. There is absolutely no storage space at any of our clinical sites that will accommodate your book bag. It's about all we can do to make sure that we get enough room for your winter coats. Okay. The other thing is not all of our clinical sites, and I'm not saying this as a bad thing, I am just saying it as a general education piece. Okay. Clinical sites, including the hospital systems that we've worked at and everything else, have bugs. Okay, there are bed bugs, there are scabies, there are cockroaches, there are a number of different bugs out in the community. So in absolutely no circumstances whatsoever will you be permitted to bring a bag into a clinical setting. Okay, if it doesn't fit in your pocket, trust me guys, it doesn't go in. My instructors have been told time and time again to send you back out to your car. If you don't want to walk back out to your car in the dead of winter, don't show up with a bag, okay? Ladies, I understand we have a need at certain times of the month. Please know that you can take whatever supplies that you need, put it in a Ziploc baggie, and put it in your pocket, okay? Tampons, pads, whatever you need can still go in your pocket. Okay, so generally what I do when I'm packing for clinicals, I take my driver's license and I take either a $20 bill or I take my debit card. Okay, for you, maybe a credit card. I'm not sure what it is. Okay, driver's license, credit card. That goes in the pocket. Okay, the other things that go in your pocket, a pen. You might take a little tiny notepad. That's always a good thing to have. If you have some alcohol prep pads, that's never a bad idea to throw those in. And I know that, we all kind of just throw them in our pocket at other clinical sites and put it in there and run with it. Those are good to go in there. Okay. You will need your stethoscope at every single clinical site with the exception, or no, I take that back. Okay. You will not need your stethoscope at Matt Talbot, and you will not need your stethoscope at Gathering Place. Okay, so Matt Talbot and the Gathering Place are the only two that you will not need your stethoscope. It might behoove you just to have it in your car at all times. Well, no, you don't want to keep it in your car. It's wintertime. So just think ahead. Think about whether or not you're going to need your stethoscope. You will, for certain, need your stethoscope at Hispanic Senior Center, Ahuja ED, Cleveland Clinic, Brunswick ED, Malachi House, Head Start. Yep. Okay. So, again, the only two that you do not need it for are the Gathering Place and Matt Talbot. Other than that, please make sure that you have your stethoscope with you. Okay. All right. Lunches. Most of our clinical sites do not have cafeterias. The only one that has a cafeteria is Ahuja ER. None of the other clinical sites have options for you to go to the cafeteria. So please, if you're going to pack a lunch, morning stretches. If you are going to pack a lunch, please make sure that you use disposable items only, okay? Make that peanut butter and jelly sandwich, throw it in a Ziploc baggie. If you need to, throw it in a Giant Eagle baggie and roll with it, okay? Please do not try, and I know people like to use salads and bring the reusable boxes. Really, anything that you bring for lunch needs to be able to be thrown away, because I really do not want to have to send you back out to your car to put something away. Most places do not have adequate access to refrigeration. So keep that in mind when you're packing your lunch as well. So if you can do something like the peanut butter and jelly, a bag of chips, and an apple, it will be good, so that you don't have to do it. And again, disposable items only. Okay, parking at our sites. Many of the sites have limited parking. Okay, so the best thing I can ask you to do is to carpool. Okay, so figure out who's in your group, and if you have the ability to carpool, it really is the nice thing to do. Okay, when we talk about Hispanic Senior Center, I will give you some directions in terms of parking. Actually, as we go through the sites, I will give you directions in terms of parking. Okay, please make sure that you have a few dollars in quarters. Okay, at times we will take you into Lakewood. They have parking meters. Okay, so at least have $2 worth of quarters with you. That's always a good idea. And then, like I said, either your $20 bill or your debit card. Okay, no bags. Okay, any problems, please call your clinical instructor or me. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about your attire in the clinical situation. Okay, so what I want to know is what CPR and your attire have in common. Okay, and seriously, the answer is if you can't do CPR in it reasonably, you should not wear it in clinicals. Okay, so think about the clothes that you're wearing. Think about how low your shirt is hanging, how tight your pants are, how far they come down in the back. Please, loose fitting attire that is very conservative in nature. So if you can't do CPR on it, if you can't get down on the ground easily, okay, it really shouldn't come to clinicals. Think about how low cut your shirts are, and what sort of body parts you're showing to other people. Okay, conservative, loose fitting clothing. Okay. All right, so some of our sites will require you to wear your scrubs. Please follow your BSN handbook for requirements on that. Okay, professional attire is defined as right here. Okay, khaki, navy, beige, or black dress pants. Okay, please do not wear mustard, green, red, purple. Okay, very conservative colors, khaki, navy, beige, or black dress pants. Okay, please note you may not wear shorts, leggings. I know it makes me very sad. I can't even wear leggings when I'm doing my clinical rounding either. Okay, I don't think we're going to have the opportunity to wear any capris beforehand. You may not wear denim or jeans in any situation, and your underwear may not be visible. Okay. You can wear professional dresses or skirts that are comfortable for delivering nursing care. If you wear blouses, sweaters, or button-down shirts, please make sure that any of your cleavage is tucked in and is not visible. Okay. Shoes. You must wear closed-toed shoes. Okay. I don't care if, they're tennis shoes, as long as they're clean, that's fine. Okay. Closed-toed shoes. I will tell you, every day in clinicals, I wear tennis shoes. That is what I wear. It's comfortable. They're easy to work with. Please do not wear heels. I've had students come to clinical in 3-inch heels, and that is just not workable in our clinical settings. So, you can wear flats if you want, if you're so inclined, but if you wear flats, I'm going to tell you to do the old lady thing and wear nylons. Okay. You really just want to make sure that your feet are covered. Okay. So, being that it's winter time, feel free to wear your tennis shoes. I think tennis shoes are a really good way to go. Okay. Jewelry and earrings per the BSN handbook. Please remember that post earrings only are acceptable. Okay. Your hair does need to be pulled back and clean every time. Okay. The BSN handbook says that it needs to be up off of your shoulders, and I am going to concur with that. Okay. I will tell you, I have taken off points for students in the past who have not worn their hair up. Really, it's kind of gross to wear your hair down because of the fact that sometimes your hair will be close to patients. You don't want them to be able to reach out and grab onto it for safety concerns. And you also don't want your hair dragging in someone's bed. So please, in all of your clinical situations, make sure that your hair is up and off of your collar. Okay. Ponytail, bun, hair clip, I don't care what it is. No hair down. Okay. All right. Sorry, I sound naggy this morning. It's one hard thing about not seeing you guys before we do this. Okay. Stethoscope. Please make sure that you have your stethoscope. If you are more comfortable carrying your drug book, you can carry your drug book. I find it much easier to work with Epocrates on my phone. And actually, in the clinical setting, I will give you permission to use Epocrates. Only Epocrates on your phone, okay? I'm going to talk about cell phones in a little bit, okay? A blue or a black pen. Please make sure you have a notepad or a little something to write notes on. A watch with a second hand, or, like the digital watch is fine as well, okay? When I say professional attire, you do need to wear your Ursuline lab coat and name tag. You can either wear the blue name tag, that just has your first name on it, with the Ursuline logo, or you can take your badge, like your badge that you use for printing and stuff now, your Ursuline name badge, and put that in a little holder and clip it onto your stethoscope. What is not acceptable is I do not want to see Cleveland Clinic badges at UH. I do not want to see UH badges at Cleveland Clinic, okay? Your name tag is either your Cleveland Clinic blue name tag or your badge name tag, okay? If you have any questions about that, reach out to me and let me know. Okay, so when we talk about professional behavior in clinicals, I always feel so badly having to talk about this. I've just had some frustrating situations where students have decided, because many of our clinical sites are a little bit more casual in nature, they aren't the typical acute care setting, that we need to maintain the same level of professionalism. I'm going to encourage you to please maintain the same level of professionalism that you would maintain in the acute care setting, okay? I've had students who have gotten hot and have pulled their pants up over their knees, okay? That wouldn't fly in the acute care setting, so please don't do it in that. The other thing is with this is cell phone usage. I am giving you permission to use your cell phone for Epocrates only in the clinical setting, okay? Please do not think that it is acceptable during downtime to be on Facebook or to go on Instagram or Snapchat or anything like that, okay? So please make sure that you are being responsible in your use of your cell phone. Please know that because you see the staff at any of the sites using a cell phone, it does not make it okay for you to do it, okay? We're still Ursuline students. We are guests in their facilities, and we need to be respectful of that, okay? So phone use for Epocrates only. The clinical instructors will hold you accountable, but I do not want to get notes from my precepted sites that I am hearing that students are on their cell phones excessively, okay? All right. No food or drink in any areas where there are patients or participants, period. Okay. Some of our clinical sites will like to offer you food and drink. Please don't take them up on it. Okay. Bring your own. Just be mindful that many of our clinical sites work on a restricted budget. Take that back. I'm going to okay it in one situation. Malachi House will provide you lunch. So please take advantage of that. They have a community meal where they come together and talk, and they will provide you lunch. So please feel free to take advantage of that lunch. But no food or drink in the areas where there are participants. Please do not sit and drink coffee while you're conversing with a participant. That is not professional. Okay. Please make sure that you have clean clothing. When a lot of times when students make it to my class, the lab jackets haven't been washed in a while, like maybe since I had y'all in 245 lab. So if you would, please make sure that you wash your lab jacket, make sure that you scrub out the sleeves, and make sure that it looks presentable for use. Okay? Be very mindful of how you're speaking. Don't engage in overly casual behavior. Please do not talk about how you went to the bar over the weekend or, things like that. Please do not talk about, I know it's very hard in terms of costs and financial things not to talk about money in the clinical setting. Many of our clinical participants do not have a lot of money, and you think you don't have a lot of money, they have even less. Okay, so please don't talk about any money issues in the clinical setting or any bar visits or anything like that. Just be mindful of what you're talking about and how people can hear and interpret the conversations that you're having. Okay, please be respectful of the participants and the speakers in any clinical setting. Be engaged, listen, look like you're interested in what they're saying. Okay, all right, thank you. Done with the nagging. Now we're going to move on to some fun stuff. The one thing I do want to say about participants, you will meet absolutely the most amazing people in this world throughout your clinical rotation in this class. Okay, everybody is so unique and so wonderful and has so many gifts to bring to the world. I think that the best thing about this clinical situation is the people that you get to meet and that you get to engage with. They're people that you would not meet and engage with otherwise, and you get to see them in their natural setting where they're comfortable, where they're at ease. Okay, they really are amazing people. So be engaged, talk to them, learn about them. Okay, you'll take away a lot as you move through the clinical rotation. Okay, so let's talk about our clinical sites. Ahuja ER is our first one up that we're going to talk about. Okay, it is an ER. I'm so sorry. Morning stretches again. It is an ER associated with a hospital. Okay, I have you going to 2 different ERs, and there is a reason I have you going to 2 different ERs. Okay, so Ahuja is associated with an emergency department associated with a hospital. Okay, so what I'm looking for you to take away there is I want you to look at what's bringing people to the ER. Okay, are they coming in because they truly have an emergency? Are they coming in because of some sort of barrier to health care? Okay, are they coming because they can't get into their primary care provider's office? Are they coming in because of a lack of education? Are they coming in because their insurance will only cover an emergency room visit? I want you to really pay attention to that. There are other things that you will take away from the clinical rotation, but my purpose in putting you there is so that you can see the vulnerabilities, see how the system works to reimburse people for their visits. Okay, a lot of the hospital systems are now charging what they call non-emergency use of an emergency room visit and tacking on an extra charge. So I want you to think about things like that. Okay, so that one is nice and close to Ursuline here. It is from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Okay, this is the one that does have a cafeteria if you want lunch. Okay, you would think that there is storage room here for bags and coats and whatever. There really isn't. If you can at all, and I feel bad saying this, but if you can at all leave your winter jacket in your car and run into the ER, that is probably the most ideal way to do it. Okay, they just really don't have much storage space, and it's kind of cluttered in their break room, and you know, it's best if you cannot bring it. Okay, so you will be wearing your scrubs that day per Ursuline attire. Okay, um, if you have a UH name tag, you may wear a UH name tag. You may not wear a Cleveland Clinic name tag into a UH facility, please. Okay. Chris Lester is going to be your instructor there, and like I said, she's fantastic. I love my clinical faculty, so every single one of them is going to be an amazing learning experience for you. I'm really excited for you guys this semester. Okay, Cleveland Clinic Brunswick freestanding ER. Please note this is Brunswick. Yes, I know I am asking you to drive a very long way from Ursuline. There is a reason I'm taking you out here. Okay. One, it's a freestanding ER. Two, I want you to compare UH to Cleveland Clinic. Okay. The freestanding ERs have a unique way of operating. Okay, one, it's a smaller ER. Okay, there's only ever 4 nurses on during the daytime. They have one paramedic, one respiratory therapist. That's the resources that they have. So I want you to see how they function with the resources that they have available to them. I want you to see the different population that you're looking at versus Ahuja. Okay, think about where each one is located. Think about the education level. Think about the monetary considerations. All of those things that bring people in. Okay, this is my employer. Okay, I'm going to say that again. This is my employer, okay? These are my coworkers. I'm asking you, please be on, not that I'm saying that you have to not be on your best behavior everywhere else, but please be very mindful when you go in that I'm really expecting you to look stellar here, okay? If you have any issues with anything, please contact me. I am the contact there. There are no days that you guys are there that I'll be there. But please wear your Ursuline scrubs. Make sure you take your stethoscope. Okay, this is one. I've had complaints in the past of students on cell phones, so please be very mindful and don't use your cell phone there. There is no cafeteria here at Cleveland Clinic Brunswick. There are a gazillion restaurants all around. So feel free if you want to leave at lunch and go get yourself some lunch. There's a Panera, there's Arby's, there's Wendy's, there's all sorts of restaurants that are very close that you can get lunch if you want to do that, or you can pack your lunch, feel free. Many times they'll order lunch and they'll offer to let you go in on the lunch, but just be mindful to pay for it. Okay, so when you go in the morning, you're just going to go to registration. You're going to let them know, hey, I'm Amy's students. I'm here and I'm supposed to have my clinicals here today. And then someone will come out and retrieve you. Okay? So again, I want you to look at the vulnerabilities, what's bringing people in. Talk to the registration people. They're really fascinating to talk to. They will ask them, what was the highest copay you had today? What was the lowest copay that you had today? Do stay in the room when registration is in there and listen to the questions that they ask. They always ask about end-stage renal disease. Any idea why they ask about end-stage renal disease? Think about things like that, okay? Yes, I realize it's a far way to drive. Trust me, it'll be worth it. They also have very critical patients that come in because it's a kind of a critical access area, and we will fly patients out, so you will see the critical care flight teams come in. You will see how patients are transferred out via ambulance to the hospitals because there is no associated hospital with them. So it really is a different perspective on emergency nursing, so take advantage of that. Okay, Malachi House. Oh, I love Malachi House. Okay, Malachi House is located down by Lutheran Hospital. Okay, so it's kind of downtown by the West Side Market, and yeah, anyway, that's where it is. Your time on site is from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. You will be wearing scrubs. Okay, this is the one where lunch is provided. Okay, so if you have dietary restrictions or you're just simply like me and kind of picky, feel free to pack your own lunch. But it is nice that, everybody kind of sits together at a community table and has lunch together, and that really is a wonderful opportunity to talk. Your clinical instructor on site is Mr. Waller. Okay, what I want you to pick up from the site is vulnerable populations. Okay, and it is a hospice experience. So Malachi House is a low-income hospice home. Okay, so these are individuals who have no access or little access to be able to afford to live at home and have home hospice. Okay, so they bring them in. They are maintained. I think there's 14 or 15 residents maybe at any given time. And the hospice companies will come in, so you'll see Cleveland Clinic nurses coming in, you'll see UH hospice nurses or Case Western hospice nurses coming in, okay, to work with the patients. It is a really wonderful opportunity to sit and talk to some amazing people at the end of their life and hear their stories and hear what they've been through. So please take the time to sit down, hold a hand, talk to people, and just really engage in some patient advocacy. And it's a great experience. Okay, Head Start. Head Start is the one clinical site that I have not confirmed as of yet today. I have an email out. We've been given permission to have the days. I do not have the addresses for you yet, so I will put those up as soon as I get them. Okay, hopefully we don't have to change anything with it, but we're going to be flexible. Okay, because that is the name of the game in community clinicals. Okay, so I will give you paperwork that tells you where you need to be in plenty of time for your days there. Okay, please note this is a shorter day. This is only from 9 until 2. Okay, this works because of when the children are there for us. Okay, what I want you to look at these kids is the social conditions that they live in. Okay, the education level of their parents. I want you to look at things like, are they dressed? Are they clean? Are they well cared for? Okay. Do they have access to health care? You're also going to be participating in some screenings. You might do some blood pressure screenings, some vision screenings. There's a whole number of different things that they have you doing. My purpose in putting you here is I want you to engage with the children and get an idea of what health means to them as children who are theoretically healthy, right? Okay, so here you're going to have business casual attire or your professional attire, okay, with your lab coat and your name tag. The clinical faculty is any one of the other 3 clinical instructors as we move you through the sites. Okay, Hispanic Senior Center and Migration and Refugee Services. This is located on Detroit Avenue. It is a Cleveland address. It is somewhat almost to Lakewood if you're coming from downtown. So just to give you a general idea of where that is. Hold on just a second here. Let's see if my pen will work. Oh, good. Okay. So Hispanic Senior Center. Okay, 7800 Detroit Avenue is the address. The clinical time is from 8 until 3 p.m. You will wear your professional dress or your business attire, same thing, with your white lab coat and name tag. What I'm looking for you to pick up here is advocacy and population-based disease. Okay, so the Hispanic Senior Center has a very specific population that has very much an increased risk of certain disease processes. I want you to figure out what those are, why they're at risk, okay? As you are driving to and from the site, please make sure that you are looking around and seeing what's going on in the community. Okay. look at the buildings, look at the shape of things, all that sort of information. Okay. Lady Rivera is your clinical faculty there. Okay. So I'm going to give you a drawing here. Okay. So when you have, this is Detroit Avenue. Okay. And this is downtown over here, I think. Yeah, downtown. Okay, and this is Lakewood over here. Okay. You are coming. Okay, so the address is 7800 Detroit, which puts you about here. Okay. There is a road here and a road here, and I believe that this is 78th. Okay, and this is Lake. Did I do that right? No. Hold on just a sec. Try again. Okay, so you have Detroit. I'm going to make Lakewood here. Okay, and this is Cleveland. Okay, yes, that's better. Okay, so you're going to turn on 78th Street. Okay, 78th, and this is Lake. Okay, so the Hispanic Senior Center is the building right here. Okay, if anybody was at St. Augustine, if anyone was there for your clinicals, St. Augustine is right across the street. I'm sorry about my handwriting on the screen, guys. So you'll turn on 78th and onto Lake. There is a parking lot here. Okay, and there's like a parking garage. Please do not park under the garage. I want you to park in this lot right here. It has a little black picket fence. So park in here, and Lady Rivera will meet you there. So just park, stay in your car, and when Lady gets there, she'll either text you or let you know that she's there, or she'll come out and wave at you. But meet Lady in the parking lot here. Okay, she does like to take you for lunch if she has time. She likes to take you to a Puerto Rican restaurant. So if you can take $15 to $20 that day for lunch, that is a great opportunity that you have to try some Puerto Rican cuisine and see exactly why it is that they have some of the diseases that they have. Okay, Matt Talbot House is located in Parma. Okay, it's on State Road. It is a very challenging location to find as you get onto campus. Okay, so you're going to pull into a parking lot that looks like a church, and you have to drive way around to the back. There are very specific directions to the building that I will post for you. Okay. This is a precepted site, okay? What it is it's a substance abuse recovery program, primarily for opiate dependents, okay? So it is a lot of men, but there are female staff employees around, okay? But you will have the opportunity to work with their clinical manager there. Her name is Deb Altimus, and she will, excuse me, work with you in terms of, you'll go through counseling sessions, you might do some admissions, you might do a whole bunch of other things. Please note that when you go into the clinical folder, let's see if I can, sorry guys. Oh, D2L is slow today. All right. So if you go into the clinical folder, there is Matt Talbot paperwork here. Okay, so there's a handbook for you to read, a volunteer statement, and a bulleted list. You have to print these off and take them with you the day of the event. Okay, so again, Matt Talbot, you need to look in the folder for those. Okay, I have a couple of articles that are associated also with the clinical sites, so please make sure that you read the Hispanic Senior Center article before you go to the Hispanic Senior Center, and please also read the Malachi House Hospice Advocacy article for you. Okay, all right. Yeah, so anyway, Matt Talbot is located way back on the property. You kind of have to wiggle around. Just be patient. You'll find it. And you're going to go in the clinical door. They will not open the door until 8 a.m. Okay, so this is the one site where you should be waiting at 8. They might not open the door until 8:02. That is okay as long as they have not opened the door. Okay, but you should be there at 8 a.m. Okay, my clinical expectations for you. Please be standing in front of your instructor at the time the clinical starts. Okay, that doesn't mean a minute after. It doesn't even mean 30 seconds after. Some of my sites, it's not areas where you're familiar with. So please be mindful that you should be standing in front of your clinical instructor at the time that the clinical starts. Generally, my best rule of thumb for you is MapQuest the directions the night before. Okay, and then you're going to double it. Okay, if there's a possibility of bad weather, you're going to triple the amount of time that it takes there. Okay, so I can tell you that most mornings it takes me 35 minutes to get to Ursuline. Yesterday, it took me 2 hours to get to Ursuline. Okay, so just be mindful that with the winter weather, we are having some increased commute times. The other thing to know is this class starts a lot of our time at business rush hour. Okay, so keep in mind that there is going to be more traffic than you're used to at, say, 6:30 or 6 o'clock when you're normally going to your clinicals. So please plan ahead and be mindful to check that out. Okay, be positive. Okay, oh, I love positive people. I love happy people, which is why I feel so bad. Half the nagging that I have to do during this orientation. But be positive, be very responsible, take ownership, okay, and relax and enjoy. Okay, this is a really amazing clinical rotation. You will be very happy at the end of it. Trust me. I know that it's kind of a little stressful in the beginning, thinking about all the different locations and all of the moving parts. But it really is a great experience for you guys. Be very flexible, okay? These clinical sites are not the same as the acute care setting. You don't always walk in and have patients sitting in the bed looking at you. Okay, so some days there will be more participants at the site, and some days there will be less participants. We can plan all we want, but really we don't know what's going to happen until we get there that day. So be flexible, okay? It never hurts. Bring your notes, throw them in your car if you want. You can, I have no objections if there's nothing going on at some of the sites, that if you want to pull out your notes, that is fine. But be flexible, okay? Really, if you can just stay flexible, it will reduce your stress, anxiety level, everything like that. Okay? Be engaged the entire time at clinical. Okay? Don't turn off at noon after you've had that big Puerto Rican lunch and your belly is nice and full. Okay? Do try to stay engaged through the entire clinical period. Make sure to ask questions, okay? If you don't understand something, if there's something you want to talk about, please, your clinical instructors are fantastic resources. Ask them questions, okay? They are walking encyclopedias. They know what they're doing. They're really good people to work with, okay? So in terms of any documentation, please make sure that you check your findings with the instructor and the documentation before you file it. There have been moments where we have had to send patients or participants, out from the clinical settings to the emergency room. So please be mindful that if you're concerned, then we really need to do something about it. Okay, any questions so far? Please make sure you email me. If you are not willing to download Epocrates on your phone, here are your calculations for you. Please feel free to write these down. Like I said, it's usually easier just to download document or Epocrates for you. Okay, so our documentation. Please fill in any blanks. Okay, our documentation in communities is all paper-based. Okay, so you're going to fill in any blanks that are necessary. Okay, do any calculations, and then your narrative notes. Okay, they follow a subjective, objective assessment and plan. If you go into the clinical folders, well, that's the medication list. Please hold. Wow, guys, I am so sorry. Desire to learn is moving way slow this morning. Slower than I am, and that takes talent. All right, here we go. Here is your Ursuline College narrative note. You'll be using this. Actually, you'll only be using this at the Hispanic Senior Center. Okay, so date, time, participant's name, date of birth, allergies, their emergency contact. Okay, when you ask them their medical conditions, they might not know what some of these terms mean, so make sure that you're putting it at a level that they understand. Okay, so here are your vitals, your body mass index. Please include a glucose level if you have a diabetic patient. I am asking you to identify a teaching priority, something that you can teach that patient about, okay? If they're hypertensive, maybe you provided teaching on their medications, or you provided teaching on going to the doctor for an appointment, okay? So what are you going to teach them about? And then I want you to document what sort of teaching you provided, and then I want you to write a little narrative note. Okay, Mrs. Rivera, or I'm sorry, Lady, will be very helpful in terms of helping you put together the pieces there. She's also a great translator for you at the Hispanic Senior Center. All right, time to wrap this up. I've been talking for too long. All right, I guess we're getting there. Okay, so I want to give you a little scenario here. You're talking with Mr. Jones. He's 88 years young. Okay. He has allergies to aspirin and seasonal allergies. He has a history of heart problems and sugar. He really can't tell you which heart problem he has. Does he have AFib? Does he have CHF? Does he have coronary artery disease? Does he have hypertension? We're not really sure. He has heart problems, okay? And sugar is a way that many people refer to their diabetes. Okay, he doesn't know if he has type 1 or type 2 diabetes. Okay, so he really doesn't have a good idea of his medical history beyond what's listed when you ask him. He is a 2-pack per day smoker for 40 years with daily alcohol consumption. He has a cane that he carries. Okay, these you'll see people like that all the time out in the community. He has very poor hygiene. Okay. He has swollen legs. He's unable to speak in full sentences for you and has a wet cough. Okay? When you're talking to him, he has some pills that he takes at home, but he really doesn't know what they are. Okay? He has a big white one that he can't swallow, so he really doesn't take it all that often. And he has another one that makes me pee myself, so he doesn't take that one either. Okay? So what are we going to do now? Okay? What is your priority of care? Well, we got to do some assessment pieces, right? Okay, we have to assess our patient. So let's start with some vitals. That's probably a good place to start, right? We have to think about his, heart and his lungs, and, maybe his blood sugar is high. Okay. Anybody know what this big white pill is that he can't swallow? That's metformin. Okay. And he has another one that makes him pee himself. That's probably a diuretic, likely Lasix, right? Okay, so in your mind, you're thinking, oh, okay, now that I figured out that he's on metformin and he's on Lasix, we know that he's probably a type 2 diabetic and he probably has heart failure, right? Okay, so the vitals that you're getting, he has a heart rate of 106. It's irregular. He's breathing 26 times a minute. His blood pressure is 156/96. His oxygen saturation is 91% on room air, and he has no complaints of pain. His blood sugar is showing on your glucometer 468. His assessment, he's ANO times 3. He's appropriately answering all your questions. You've assessed his lung sounds. He has crackles throughout all lung sounds. He has a wet cough with clear sputum. His heart rate is irregular. His pulses are irregular. You're seeing a little bit of JVD. He has no abdominal swelling or tenderness. He has 3+ swelling to his bilateral lower extremities. Oh, but when you look at his legs, you notice he has bruising on both of his knees. Now what are you going to do? Okay. Anybody know why he has bruising on his knees? He's falling at home, right? Okay. My running joke is that you never knew so many cats existed until you start asking older people why they fall. Every older person, for some reason, falls over their cat. Okay. So then you start to ask questions like, oh, what's your cat's name? What type of cat do you have? Okay, these questions, while they seem like nice conversant questions, are actually going to give you a very good picture of, do they actually have a cat that they're tripping over, or are they tripping over their rugs, or are they weak, or what's going on? Okay, so once we have all this information, what are we going to do? Are we going to ask some more questions? Is there something you want to do with this patient? Because you have this assessment, you have no physician available to you in the community. So what is your plan of care going to be? Okay. So things that I would consider with this guy is, okay, he's a little bit tachycardic, right? He's 106. He's irregular, so he's an AFib. We don't know if that's new or not. He also has a blood pressure of 156/96, so he's hypertensive. He has a respiratory rate of 26, so he's tachypneic. Okay, so that's much faster than we need him to be. His pulse ox is low. He's 91%, which may or may not be normal for a patient who's been smoking 2 packs a day for 40 years, okay, depending on the fact of, is he in COPD? Is this a normal form? Is it an abnormal form? Okay, so your instructors will help walk you through the next steps. Depending on the way the patient looks, do we call 911? Do we send them out in an ambulance? Do we call the primary care provider's office, try and get an appointment? Or are we comfortable in sending the patient home? Okay, this gentleman would not be going home in my world. He's either going to go to the primary care provider's office or he's going to go to the ER. Most times when you call the primary care provider's office, they're just going to send them to the ER. With those assessment findings. So you will have the opportunity to make some calls possibly with providers and to be able to talk with them, or you may talk with their nurses at their facilities, who will then give you advice on what they would like you to do with the patient. Okay, teaching is a huge part of community nursing. So when we talk about teaching with our patients, we want to do something that's relevant for them. We're only going to teach one subject at a time. Okay, it's always nice to say, oh, well, you need to take this medication and this medication, and you need to do your exercise, and you need to watch your sugar content, and you need to decrease your carbs. Okay, all of those things. I'm going to ask you to choose one teaching concept, teach your patient or your client about it. Okay, one. Okay, so I want you just guys to think as you're moving forward about what some topics that you think are important to teach in the community. Are they the same that we have in the hospital? I would argue that in the community, participants are actually better situated to learn because they're healthy, they're sitting in front of you, and they're in a better place to learn. So take the opportunity to do that teaching. Okay, and the name of the game throughout this entire clinical rotation is flexibility. Okay, remain flexible, remain easygoing. I know that it's stressful for you guys, but really at the end of it, trust me, it is so worth it, and you will love it. It's a great clinical opportunity for you. Okay, I look really forward to seeing you guys next Friday. Please reach out if you have any questions. You have my cell phone number, and as long as the Rest of the world is awake. I am usually awake, so I'm awake between like 5:30 in the morning and 10 o'clock at night. Feel free to text me, reach out to me, email me, call me, whatever you'd like to do. And have a great first day of clinicals, guys. All right, look real forward to seeing you.